Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Vamily Show. We get to have these every once in a while when me and Nette get to be on together. And today we're interviewing Jothi Dugar. She is a cybersecurity expert. She is also, as you put it, a chaos guru. So tell me, and the audience kind of that we have here. We have Happy Place Camping in here already, and Kayla K. Um, what is chaos guru?
Sure. So, everyone faces chaos in their lives within themselves and also from an external perspective, especially now with everything that's going on in the world, with kids running around, with
Yeah.
schools, with parents, with spouses. And what I really started doing was identifying there's actually different types of chaos. So most people look at chaos and they try to run the other direction or they try to
Right.
ignore it.
Yeah.
Or they stuff it within themselves, like, oh, if I don't think about it, maybe it'll go away. And
Yeah.
how often has that actually worked out for you? So what I actually started discovering was that there's actually different types of chaos. And to keep it simple, I started calling it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there is actually good chaos too that you actually want to invite in your life, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I started calling. Actually, other people started calling me. Oh, you must be like the chaos guru because you seem to be handling all this chaos really well. I'm like, yeah, okay, I like
That's a pretty
that.
cool title to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah.
What brought you to? Is your friends calling you the chaos guru that you decided to plow full force into it? Is that
So I do a lot of different things. So I'm a cyber security executive, but I'm also a holistic wellness practitioner and coach. I'm an author, a dance director. I have 3 kids myself, and I've gone through a lot in my life. So everyone asks me like, "Oh, you seem so happy and bubbly and outgoing. So you must have had like a great life." I'm like, I definitely have had a great life, but it doesn't mean that it was easy by any means. And I kept myself in this mindset so that I can get through it. I've had different kinds of
Yeah.
traumas, starting from childhood itself, and also healthcare traumas along the way. And really, the only thing that actually got me out of it was a mindset and perspective, and knowing that I am going to get out of it, and that's what I'm going to set my goal through. And whatever chaos that came in my life, I
Hmm.
pictured myself being like a surfer on a wave, and I'm just kind of
Yeah.
riding those waves, and all this chaos is coming at me, but I just kind of rode along those waves and not allow it to bring me down.
Yep. Now
right?
I noticed on your YouTube channel, it actually is showing where you do the cyber wellness. That I do see a couple of those that you've done, and you fairly look like a new channel, like about a year.
So I have 2 different channels. I have the Jothi Dugar channel where I put a lot of my dance. 'Cause I'm a dance instructor director as well. I have a dance school.
Mhm.
So if you go Google my name, you'll probably find a whole lot of different things.
Oh,
And
cool.
part of what I was trying to do in the last couple years is actually trying to see how do I merge everything I do into
Yeah.
one, because it seemed at the time that everything was so disparate and nothing was connected, but
Hmm.
they're all connected to me as a person, so they must be connected in some way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
Like so I really had to find out like what was it
Yeah.
that was connecting everything, and really it turned out like chaos, right? I started doing
Right.
dance. I started doing
Mhm.
dance when I was 3 years old just to deal with all the chaos in my home situation, because this was my way of allowing it to come out, all the chaos within me from having to
Right.
face a traumatic childhood.
Mhm.
I wasn't going to do drugs or
Yeah.
alcohol or run away or things like that. So I was like, okay, like I really love dancing. I could express myself. Like I could just release it all through my dance. and I started thinking about all of these different aspects in that way. So really, chaos was the kind of
Right.
glue that was-
And that's like for me, how I deal with the chaos is music. And that's what really makes me forget about the day, what might have happened, and me just sitting back and listening to a song. And I lose myself, and it just brings me back to my center. So exactly, you probably do the same as far as your dance.
Yeah, and dance
Right back.
is centered around music,
Right.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
so it's actually through the music that you allow yourself to just get carried away and then like really dance your heart out, not just so a part of my dance academy is that's what I specialize in. It's not just like most academies just focus on, okay, let's just learn this routine and then you go and perform the routine and then you're done and you know that's it. Like I really focus on the mind body energy approach to pretty much everything in life. So I allow the students' creativity to come out. Like I'm going to play this music and you know, and then we're going to do this choreography time. So you just come up with like whatever move you feel like doing with music.
It's like whatever your body is feeling with the music, and it's right whatever you're doing. You know, like don't try to trick yourself so to try to get perfect in a move. Just feel the music, and then that's definitely is filling your soul.
Right. So initially, you know, everyone's a little apprehensive and they try to come up with the perfect steps. And I'm like, no, just let it all go. There is no perfect step. There's no yours is better than yours. You know. Yeah.
Right.
So, what are some tips you would give people about common things that they miss in their own personal cybersecurity that you see all the time that you would suggest that they change that behavior?
Sure. So, I'm really I shouldn't say I'm glad things are happening the way they are, but for the longest time, I was trying, you know, I was in both of these worlds, right? Like the cybersecurity world, but also wellness. And I was trying to merge both of these worlds together. I was trying to bring my mental health and wellness to the technology and cyber world, but I was also trying to bring cyber and technology to the wellness world and also to just families and small businesses. And really, both sides weren't taking either one that seriously until now. Which is really, you know, I'm glad that they could, both sides are finally getting it now. So from a cyber perspective, you know, simple things. It's, there's so many different apps you can use now for password manager type of apps. Because what I started noticing is that even in my own family and friend circle, people tend to use the same password on every single thing. And you know, like, oh, I can't remember 10,000 passwords. Like, well, you don't have to remember them. Use a secure password manager like LastPass or something like that, where you know you can store all of your usernames and passwords, and it's a safe tool to use. And then you could actually use that to log into all of your systems. So you don't actually have to type in the password. You can go directly through that. And also, you know, a lot of people put so much information on social media, like on their Facebook page. You know, it's one thing if you are an entrepreneur or business owner, you kind of have to promote yourself and do a lot of marketing and social media. That's one thing. But then putting your own personal information there, like, hey, I'm going to go to Turkey for a whole week. So now everyone knows your house is going to be empty. And you're probably not monitoring your bank accounts and all of your other systems when you're on vacation. So, you know, just don't talk about where you're going. If you really want to talk about it after you come back. Like, hey, I had a great trip to Turkey last week. And then post some pictures. And I would be really careful as a third tactic I mean, there's so many different tactics out there, but I notice a lot of now with the pandemic going on, people are posting a lot more pictures of like their kids, you know, what they're doing. And, you know, just be careful with that, just because if you're putting your kids' pictures online, it's going to be there forever until unless you physically take it down. But even then, you don't know who's copied those pictures and put it all over the internet somewhere else. And if someone associates your child's picture with you, it's there's just so many things that can happen from that, and has happened. So if you look at the FBI, most criminals that are targeting children, the first place they look is Facebook.
Right.
And even if they mean no harm, physical harm with the kids, but they could want something financial, like maybe, and this has happened in actual school systems around the nation, where there's hackers that are actually contacting parents saying, "Hey, I have your kid. So don't expect him or her to come home from school today unless you wire me like $20,000 or whatever." And the parents don't know, like, do they really have my kid or not? And then they basically show a picture, of their kid. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, like that is my kid."
Right.
And then they have like fake crying, or they in the background.
And they do the same too with your house. Like they can go into Google Earth and get a picture of your house and say, "Hey, I know where you live," and just to try to freak you out, to basically do what they're asking you to do, like give me money for whatever, I know where you live, I'm going to hunt you down and all that.
Well, also, anything that's connected to anything that has an IP address, like your nanny cams, your home security systems, all of those are hackable. So they actually can be watching you. You never know. Your phone is hackable. Your computers are hackable. So, a simple thing you can do is put like a cover on your, one of those camera covers on your laptop and on your phone, so that at least it's one way of protecting. So at least you can rest assured like no one's actually watching you.
Right.
They could also turn on your mic on your phone or your computer, so they could be recording what you say. And not a whole lot you can do about that, but it's just simple things to just be mindful of. So just don't put yourself and your kids, especially your kids, information out there and pictures and posting all the time, and where your kids are, what they're doing, and they're going to first day of school today. Okay, it's
right.
So and passwords, I think, just have a different password. Use spaces in your password if you can. So if whatever systems or applications you're using allow for spaces as special characters, that's one of the best ways to have a strong password.
Wow. Wow. There used not really very many of those that would allow that. Hopefully there's more. And Happy Place Camping, that's one of the things we deal with on YouTube, is not posting where you're at real time. So like they said, they never announce where they're going or how long they'll be gone.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. And there's different things like, using different browsers for, dedicate a certain browser for banking and dedicate a certain browser for surfing the web. And try to close things out. So don't have a banking website on one tab while you're surfing Facebook on another tab, because there's a lot of things that could happen with that. Someone's able to get into your computer through Facebook, then they could also now get into your bank account. As you. So the bank is not going to stop that because it's going to think it's you. So I would say, just do your banking, close it out, log out, literally close the browser, and then shift to a different browser and then do whatever surfing you need to do.
Yep. And how long have you been doing this type of work? It's pretty fascinating, and I didn't know if it's something that you've been, basically having a long career doing this field.
Yeah, so cyber I joined about 20 years ago. Even before it was called cyber. It was basically I was in the IT area of expertise pretty much when I started. So I did a lot of traveling. I did consulting. I traveled the world. I traveled all over US. And then I started getting to this new area called information assurance, is what it was called, like back in the day. would seem kind of exciting, but still very, very, very new. And then I thought, I'll do it for a couple years and then I'll branch out and do something else. But it's just such a fascinating field, and it's like ever growing. Especially now, it's growing even faster. So I love it. It's definitely been a great journey to just learn just how broad of a field it is, and also being a CISO, it's a very unique executive level position that's somewhat very different than like a CIO or a CEO or director or really anything else, because you're really the change agent for the organization. You're constantly having to come up with new ideas and new strategies, and how do we secure this new way of doing things? And it's always new, because we're never going to go back to like manual ways of doing it, and there's always like new threats. So it's a very unique role in the sense that it's not just a technical. It's not that you just have to learn a lot about cybersecurity or technology. It's like you have to learn to communicate well. You have to build relationships well. You have to learn how to speak the language of your stakeholder. So I love it, because I'm a very people-centric person, and I started this movement with cyber. Like, we really have to make it more people-centric, which is really what's resonating with non-cyber people. Because before, if you see cyber, when you think of cyber people, you probably just imagine a certain type of person that's very like mumbo jumbo, and you don't understand what that, it's like the doctor. It's like, oh, you have this, coronary, lipido, and you're like, okay, just speak English.
I know.
So I try to bring that holistic wellness perspective to the cyber world. Like, okay, you have to have good bedside manners. So if you're on a talk show like this, you don't want to sit there talking about which port and which, what kind of artificial intelligence tool to use, because that's just it's gonna be like.
So where did Envision and Dream It, Live It come from?
That is my motto. Everything that I want in life, I envision. I envision it first. If I can't create it in my dreams, I can't create it in reality. So I try to, envision it, dream about it, and then I actually try to live it in the moment so that I can attract it to me in my physical reality. And what might be surprising is at 5 years old, I basically dreamt that, okay, by the time I'm 40, I'm going to live in this particular area of Virginia that I am now. It's called Great Falls, and it's just beautiful, like scenic areas, have lots of trees and wilderness around you. And I had one of my parents' friends lived here, and I saw that that area once. Like, that's where I want to live when I grow up. I'm going to live there. I'm going to have 3 kids. I'm going to have 2 dogs, and then I want to be at the highest level of the government. Even though I had no idea what the government really was when I was 5, but that same friend's parent, who I really adored and really looked up to, was working for the government. So I'm like, okay, I want to do whatever you're doing. I have no idea what you're doing, but that's what I want to do. And lo and behold, I turned 40 last year, and I basically achieved like everything that I had set out to do until I turned 40. So now it's time for newer dreams and for the next 10 years.
And if anybody wants info on you, I put her web address there on the screen, jothidugar.com. And is there anything else that you'd like to tell our people that we have here today before you let you go?
Sure. I do have individual transformational programs. I have books coming out. I also have corporate level programs out there for true transformation, but also from a cyber perspective as well. So if you're, I do a lot of different things, and I love, blending all of these worlds together. So My website has a lot of information. I am in the process of launching my book, so that'll be up there soon as well.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. And let me know anytime you have a new book coming out or something, and we'll bring you back on.
Great, thank you so much. I definitely will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank Jothi Dugar for being here today. And I want to say hello to everybody here in the chat that we had coming in. Justin and Christina's RV Van Life, RV Weekends, Happy Place Camping, Uncle Lisa Productions popping in, Journey via Lily's Lens, Tracy Cool is popping in here. Everybody is popping in here. I'm sorry we had a little bit of an echo. I don't know what was going on earlier, but that's kind of why Nette was taking the lead asking questions, because it wasn't echoing when she was asking them. So I do appreciate you guys being here. And I am in the review, so it's kind of cool hearing her how that envision it and dream it and live it and have it come true. That was cool to see. So we're going to drop off, chat with her for a little bit. And Scrapper will be coming on here in a little bit and go ahead and hang out with him. And me and Nette will see you later. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.